thank you to our audience. Listen, I got so much on the show. Okay, here we go. First of all, shout out to the Harlem Globetrotters. We were courtside with little Moses, watching the return at Madison Square Garden, their 2024 World Tour. We had so much fun. Then we crammed in the Ringling Brothers Circus for the first time. That's Moses. With his friend Gia, was celebrating Gia's 4th birthday. She had a little injury. She's okay, but we partied at the circus. Then I was on my book tour, my new book, Watch Where They Hide. We've had to turn my home into this studio. Okay, so in the first, 2 minutes of this show, I told you I went to the Globetrotters at Madison Square Garden, Ringling Brothers in Barclay, and then I turned my home into a podcast because I've got a new book coming out. Wait a minute, am I bragging? Okay, well, pay attention now, because we're having a candid conversation. What I just did, there are people who say that's called the busy brag. That when you just start running, I had to do this, I had to do that, I had to do that, I had to do that, that we're bragging. Okay, how many of you in this audience have said, I'm so busy, and then started listing off the things? All right, okay, put your hand up, okay, because I know I'm not alone. Keep them up. Experts say that we are busy braggers and that we are addicted to telling people all the stuff that we have to do. And they say we don't even know it. You can put your hand down. You want me to see those boots? That's a brag right there. Listen. So they say, we say this, I'm so jam-packed, I'm doing so much, but we're really bragging. It's a phenomenon, they say, stealing our joy. You don't believe me? I'm a reporter, so I'm gonna bring some facts. 2018 Pew survey found 60% of U.S. adults, that means us, said that sometimes they felt too busy to enjoy life. In a recent season of the Atlantic's How To podcast, it keeps a deep dive of the obsession of being busy. Their series is called How to Keep Time. Take a listen to how they talked about this.
Many of us say we don't have time for other people or wish we had more time for a social life, but it feels like there's some compulsion to stay busy with random tasks and chores to the point of making ourselves unavailable.
That's the conversation. That was co-host and producer of the Atlantic's How To podcast, Becca Rashid. Please welcome Becca to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we have these candid conversations on the show. We've had, for example, menopause. We've had medical gaslighting. We've had all of these topics, candid conversations on anything you can name. I never expected a candid conversation on something called the busy brag. I don't know the difference, Becca, between just telling somebody what you have to do and when it crosses the line of being bragging.
Right, and I think that's a tough distinction because there is a sort of humble brag that can be disguised as a complaint. That is the list that you just outlined. You know, I have this and this and this to do. I got to pick up the kids, and then I have to go to my doctor's appointment. But we're talking about sort of busyness for busyness' sake, when you're just sort of keeping yourself occupied with a bunch of tasks and chores that could be put off so that you could spend more time with your family and friends, but you somehow make the excuse to yourself that, no, I just have this long to-do list that I have to get to first.
But if it's something that you really need to do and you're putting it off, isn't that procrastination? Isn't that a whole nother disease?
Right, that is a separate thing. But
Becca's like, I am not a therapist. I'm here to talk. But I'm saying like that if you really have these things to do, they all may not be level 10 priority,
right,
but somebody's got to get them done.
Right. I think it's then asking yourself why you're doing those things. If they are tasks that can be put aside, let's say a crate and barrel home decor chore or running to the grocery store, but you have a special friend's birthday party and you actually prioritize that relationship. You don't want to be trading the task for the relationship, right? In theory, but many times people don't really understand that that is a trade-off, and you need to be putting your real life priorities ahead of those sort of tasks, the chores that are not pressing.
Okay, so it's such a part of our culture. We actually found a SNL skit that talks about the extreme that we go through and to show that we're busy. Take a look.
Thank you for being here.
Icebreaker, icebreaker. Colin, how are you? Don't answer that. Literally don't have time to hear your answer. I am so slammed.
So slammed. It's in our culture almost.
Yes.
I'm so slammed. I mean, think about it. Somebody calls you. I have a friend, AKA my husband, that every time I call him, he'll go, "Hey, babe, what's going on? I'm in a meeting." I'm like, "Hi." I'm not divorcing him. I'm just talking about it. But you say there's an action addiction. What does that mean?
Yes, so action addiction, it's sort of highly not fully agreed to in the behavioral psych community, but this is basically the little dopamine receptors in our brain that are activated when we complete everything on our to-do list, right? The sort of, I got to the grocery store on time, I picked up the kids, I did this, I called my mom, I got everything done, and that releases a sort of sense of satisfaction at a sort of brain level where we feel like an extra accomplished person.
But is it, again, I mean, going back to the core, and we're getting candid here, for me, that's a good thing. I mean, if you have a bunch of things on your list today and you finish that,
right.
Why is that an action addiction? Why am I just not productive?
And again, not to say this is an addiction like a diagnosable,
right,
like
sure,
you're an addict, of course.
Of course.
But you have to think about the culture we live in and what we value, right? In an American work-centric culture where being productive often determines how other people see you as a valuable member of society. Right. Beyond just work, we have to think about, am I doing all these additional tasks and chores because I want to be seen as a valuable member of this American society? Are those things I actually have to get done?
Or a valuable member of my family. So
yes.
like in the case of, most of my girlfriends, and I'm the same way, and I see all the women nodding. I think women definitely do we do it more?
Yes, there was actually data.
In the home life anyway, I should say.
Yes, there's data that has found that women carry more of the mental load as it relates to stress at home. So by mental load, I mean the tasks that are around just day-to-day work. It's also, keeping up with.
But if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
Right.
I mean, I know you spoke with a researcher about this on the show from Arizona State, I believe.
Yes.
A marketing professor shedding light on why people brag about being busy. Let's play it.
People are motivated to be busy because they're not only signaling to other people that they're important, but they're signaling to themselves that they're important.
So that's where the brag comes in. It's saying, look how important I am. Look how many Amazon orders I opened in box, and I'm so busy and I'm important. That's what the research is showing.
Yes, and that's why I think that distinction between both our culture and how we want to be perceived by other people as socially valuable, we're social beings. How other people perceive us also impacts how we view ourselves, and our own self-esteem and self-worth is determined by how other people also value our actions. So in American culture, again, a work-centric, productivity-based culture where being successful is often based on showing other people how little time you have. The less time you have means...
Booked and busy.
Yeah, you're booked and busy.
Right.
You're less important. You're probably more important because you have less free time.